Now, there are 15% words in English language which are actually sight words, but they comprise the words that we use frequently, and therefore they have to be given a lot of importance, because children come across these words regularly, especially in the text they read, and it's the everyday common English language that we use. So we have to be careful. And these words we memorize as whole, and we need to recognize them instantly by sight. And these are practiced in 3 different ways. One is discovery, and then the second I'll be talking about is the sight word cards that you'll be using for the kids, and then the sheet that I just gave out. This is for for spellings. So let's start with the discovery process. How you introduce sight words as an irregular word, and it's introduced as a concept. So we have various steps, and it's defined in your book, but I've also made a sheet here which I'll distribute later on, so you all have this with you. Let's take the example of said. The teacher writes said, and the student is asked to write it down and then try to code it. Obviously, it's very difficult. It's in fact impossible. Let's try it out. How do you think you want to code it? Anybody?
2 briefs.
Okay, 2 briefs. Another option could be right? They're both incorrect. So it's a sight word. So once the student discovers this, you erase this. I'm sorry, it's red is too bright. Okay. So then the teacher writes down said again, and right next to it, in parentheses, you write S-E-D with a brief, which gives the pronunciation of this word. So now the student knows how it's pronounced. So compare it, and then what do you think is the irregular part in this? AI? Draw a circle. So AI is the irregular part in said. S and D have the regular sounds. This is the discovery procedure for sight words. You can just maybe do a couple, maybe the, said, initially, so that the child understands the concept of sight words.
But in the future, just if they cannot, if they don't know it automatically.
Yeah, otherwise you don't need to go over this again and again. In fact, in your book, first you do the cards, and then you come across this sheet. So, and this one here, right here. So this is just for discovery. So the child understands why they are called sight words, because they're phonetically irregular. Okay. Sally was supposed to bring my sight word cards, but anyway, all of you have your sight word cards, right? The front of the card has said written on it, and the back has S-E-D. Right? So these are the cards that you'll be using. The procedure is, teacher shows the sight word card and says the word. So the teacher is supposed to hold it on your desk, and you show the student the card. The teacher says said.
Said.
Then move on to the next one. The, of. So you go on. If you feel the student isn't getting any word, you can repeat it a couple of times, and you can also show the back of the card which has the pronunciation if need be, otherwise you don't need to. Then on day 2. Usually this is a separate day, and then the next lesson you have this sheet in your binder.
Yes.
So the first day, you say the word before the child says the word?
Yes.
How do we know then which
And how
ones
do
they
you
don't
know
know?
if they don't know it?
That is for spelling. If they find it difficult, if they and then you also can ask them to spell it out, give them the words as a dictation, and if they make mistakes, then you go on to this sheet.
Ask them to spell it with the word in front
No,
of them?
not spell. You just show them the card, say the word, and they echo it back. That's it.
So how do I know which ones to introduce then? Because if they're just echoing, they're gonna get them all right.
Hopefully, yes. So you'll find out over here.
Mhm.
Just wait for this.
Okay.
Okay, now come to the next sheet. All right. There are columns: column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4. So teacher says the words said, the, of, and the student keeps repeating after the teacher. Then the student in column 2, the student says and the teacher repeats. So over here you'll find out if the student gets it or not. Got it? Then the third column, you can say it together. The teacher and the student, they say it together. And the fourth column is optional. If you feel the student gets it, let him read on his own. If the student doesn't get it, then you say the words and the student repeats.
I think I did this wrong.
I did.
I
did not.
Patty would walk us through that way. Patty gave me completely different directions.
Yeah.
So she's my person, so I should probably listen to her, because she's the one that's gonna be working.
This actually came from Sandra. So we sent her an email, and whatever I'm saying will be here.
Yeah, none of
So
that.
just follow this.
None of it's in the book
None of
at
it's in the
all.
book.
None of
Just
that is
this.
like that at all.
I just flash, and if
That's
they
what
knew
they
the card,
write
if
it.
Yeah.
Then
they
we
knew
move
it,
on.
then
Just put it
was-
aside.
Put it
Right.
aside.
didn't, we went
Then
we
we
went
went
through the
through.
You
process.
flashed and you didn't say the word.
No.
No, and then the words they didn't know, we took through this.
And then I
Right.
just spelled If it was irregular.
If it was an irregular word.
But spelling inventory is not in there, I didn't.
No, I know.
That
We're
sounds like a
talking
great
about-
idea, but I know.
So what you have to do now, starting from now, is you don't just flash, you read the word and let them echo it back. So then they
Yeah,
echo
this-
it.
Same lesson, then you have them read it to you, and we're thinking that we're
No,
gonna.
not the same lesson. The next day.
Next.
Next day you come, you bring this sheet in, and they also have this sheet, right, in front of
Yeah.
them. So first column, okay, let me model it. Said,
Said,
the,
the,
of,
of,
and,
and,
to,
to,
in, is, you,
you,
that,
that,
it.
it,
Now you read and I'll read.
the,
The,
and,
and,
in,
is,
that,
that,
said,
said,
of, to, it,
you.
you.
And now we'll say it together.
Of, it, that, the, to, you, said, and, is,
it.
yeah.
By now you should realize if your student knows or doesn't know. Because if they can't, they would have read this here first and you're echoing, then over here they're reading it with you. If they're slipping,
So-
that means they don't get it.
More than one student in a group? Are you having everybody quarterly, you're just
Yeah.
kind of listening to them all?
Yeah. So if they, even if one child is off, you slow everybody down, right?
Okay.
So then either you decide over here that you're going to read it first and they will repeat, or you feel they're fine, they're doing absolutely okay and they just read on their own.
On their
That's
own,
it.
the
You
full
won't
call.
Can I just, so I guess I'm just a little confused because, like, my child knows the word automatically, like, because he's a sixth grade, like, he knows what the words are. So then I've been doing the spelling piece because I wanted to see if he could spell the words.
Okay.
But because he's not getting to that paper, like, I don't need to repeat, like, he already knows what the word is. So that's where I guess I'm just kind of confused, like, he knows it like that, like, it's not a,
Then I guess if you feel very confident that the student is a sixth grader and knows,
I wouldn't do it if he knows it.
Just,
Yeah.
but
But
just
does
to
he know
do
how
the
to spell it?
spelling, yeah.
yeah, he knows he gets 100% on the spelling too.
Yeah, I mean,
Move, keep moving.
I wouldn't do it if he knows it.
So
Mine
I just
wasn't-
flash them the
yeah,
first
that's
day. I just
Yeah.
flash it because
That's what- that's
I've
what it
broken
says
up my
here.
lessons in
Lesson plan.
two days, most lessons. So the first day I flash them. If he knows it, then I automatically go to the spelling just to make sure that the spell is
How do
reinforced.
you decide which, I mean, do you?
I do them all.
You do all?
I do all the words just to make
All-
sure that he can spell them all.
All of them on this?
No. I give him a spelling test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
If he misses them, then I do that.
Yes.
And then the third day, I do the columns and the rows.
So on the day of your spelling test, Maggie, you're not getting a whole lesson done then? Or are you just doing that one? I mean, what do you,
Well,
that
I
takes,
tasted it.
if you're giving them an entire spelling test,
On the sight words, 10 words.
that's
So 10
gonna take
words.
quite a long time if you're, like for
Gives
my
you
little
that
guys, when you
5
have a
minutes.
sixth grader, my
I
guys.
don't make him do cursive though, I don't.
No.
I'm like, just.
Well, they don't know about the.
No.
Yeah,
they
so I
don't
just
know
said,
all of
just write the printed words. And I'm not saying that what I'm doing is, so please don't hear me think what you're saying is wrong, or I was just questioning
Well,
what.
what you're doing is diagnostic teaching. You wouldn't want, I mean, I'd get pretty annoyed if somebody was making me practice something that I already knew.
Right.
Especially when there's so much stuff that we need to spend our time on,
Exactly.
like the spelling or not.
So if he knows the words already,
Yeah.
then that's why I haven't I wouldn't see the need to have it repeat, because he would say to me like, I should know these by first grade, you kind of work.
Well, I mean, and he might not know them in sixth grade.
I mean, those words
But
are
you're-
most problematic, I would say,
Right.
for.
Just because he's in sixth grade doesn't mean he knows
They're the
them.
hardest.
No.
ones.
But
I-
the fact that he knows them, great, move on to something else.
But
Okay.
he might know them reading wise, but what if you miss out words, spelling?
So that's why I do the second day spelling. Whenever, I always give him all of the words, and that's when then I pull that sheet for spelling, because he's not getting it for, if he gets it for reading.
So how about you do the parts the first day, and the second day you do this?
Okay.
Rather than dictation,
Okay.
spelling, you do this the second day, and then third day you do spelling, and whatever he gets incorrect, you follow it.
With that
With this.
paper. Okay.
And I've been doing like with SOS spelling, if I've had to do a word, like I think the word they missed was 4, they wanted to spell it like the number. You know, then I'll throw that word in with SOS after I do the other words, just to do a check to see, is that okay? I mean, we don't do the finger spelling and all that because it doesn't work, but I just make them spell it.
I'll say that, and I'll say to him, I'll say this is an
Yeah, me
irregular
too.
word,
Yeah,
and it
no
has to
problem.
be,
Yeah,
I'm just checking to continue that practice within if he's missing, if
And
he's
they're
missing
both
that word.
irregular actually.
4 and 4.
right, so I just dictate the word, have them repeat it, and then, and say this is an irregular word.
Actually, no, 4
Actually,
is
no,
not.
4 is not,
Oh, okay.
FOR is not
FOUR
right.
is.
Right,
right.
But they probably haven't learned.
They haven't learned the OR, so it's
OR,
irregular
yeah.
to
For
them
them,
right now.
it's a-
Yeah.
But I just want to make sure that's okay. I just done it that way, just as a check.
Yeah.
What about those other 2 sections on there?
This one? So what you do is first you, this discovery is the first step, then you do the sight word, the cards, then this is the sheet. After this sheet, you can give it to them as a dictation, but as part of the sight words, not as part of the spelling procedure. And then if in case there are a few mistakes, this is the sheet that you need to use. And I'll just read it out. Decode the word in the regular way. Discover the part or parts of word which do not correspond to the regular spelling for each sound. What we did for said. Remember when we circled it? This is what you do with it. Then pronounce the word, repeating until the auditory memory is secure. So repeat that word. Trace the word. So you've already written it here. So trace, the student is supposed to trace the word 3 times, naming each letter. So SAID, said.
Did you say the word?
Yes.
Okay, I think that doesn't say
said.
that.
SAID, said. Another thing you can do is, Sally was supposed to get me a mesh, and you can place that mesh underneath, right on top of this, take it out, and then with their finger, if they go in, they'll feel it. So that's a good tactile way of doing it. Then you copy the word 3 times, naming each letter. SAID, not me, I mean the student will be doing it. SAID, 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 said. Then spell the word 3 times with eyes closed. SAID, 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 said. Then fold this sheet, write the word 3 times from memory. S-A-I-D said, S-A-I-D said, S-A-I-D said. Then open it and check. By now, the student should have gotten it.
And then they say it again, and they say S-I-D-E said.
Probably not to. So with
But
this,
the
I-
other two little sections on the other paper.
Like for rows, is there a,
It
like,
says it,
read
it says it
together?
in there, it says like, they want, or like, it says, one day you're supposed to be reading in rows, and the next day it
Yeah,
says you're supposed to be reading
Yeah,
in
but
columns.
what we need
that's
is like
what
column
student
one,
did.
it was the teacher said it, and then the student
You
echoed.
repeat it
So
here.
for the rows,
Yes,
do the
do the
same
same.
procedure.
Are you, have you written all that out? Because this is totally different than the doing.
Here, it's right here.
We learned that from Sandy Thompson. We learned that Sandy
Yeah.
Thompson.
So do we write on this actual paper? This is what they're
Student
writing?
writing.
This-
So that trace copy memory technique is across the board
But
in
the-
most.
But this
student does
paper
that.
is what they write on?
Yeah.
They write-
I mean, they
copy
can do-
these a bunch of
I have
times,
them.
and then they
So you
write.
can do trace copy memory on anything, but that's one of the ones that.
And
you
if you
have
keep
on.
these, like just,
You don't really have to.
so every day they go on?
I mean, you can put it in a.
I keep them like that.
You can put it in their book, you can keep it in their binder.
And you have this in your, the sheet, plain sheet, you have it in your resource.
Yes, I know, yes, clean sheet, but then